Hey, good morning, guys. It is February 9th already, and today Chambers deals with, is talking about Isaiah 40 and verse 28, and he talks about he sometimes it's just an excerpt, so I'm going to read, have you not known, have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, and the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. And that's the whole of 20, verse 28. And Chambers is dealing with spiritual exhaustion. And he talks about it being not a function of sin, but of being poured out. And so the whole picture that he paints in this, have you guys ever seen I don't know if you've ever seen a tower of wine glasses when they fill up the top one. I guess it's champagne glasses, but they fill up the top one and then it pours down into there's a square of four below it, and then it's another square below those. Four with each of those. So you fill the top one and it comes down. So this whole idea of filling from the top down is kind of what Chambers is getting at here. He talks about exhaustion being being a kind of a component of being poured out, and specifically about being made broken bread and poured out wine. He, in the first paragraph here, says the process of being made broken bread and poured out wine, as we become like Jesus, means that you have to be the nourishment for other souls until they learn to feed on God. And that's a really interesting point. So there's three characters, there's three roles that Chambers deals with in this study, and that is the role of God, who is the unsearchable, unfathomable, unending, untappable resource. So there's God, who is the resource. He is the bottle of wine being poured into the top one. But it's as Jesus said, everlasting water. So it is untappable. And so that's the first role. The second one is us. As he's pouring into us, we are to be made broken bread and poured out wine. And so we're supposed to be pouring into the lives of others. And here's the key, and it's what Paul talks about again and again in his epistles. When he talks to these immature believers, and he says at one point, I wish I could feed you meat, but all I can feed you is, I don't know if it's the Galatian church, I can't remember. I should know that. But all you want or all you can deal with is milk. You can't deal with meat, and so you haven't come from infancy where you are depending. And it's a really neat picture too, how a nursing mother has all the nourishment that a baby needs until one day the baby starts to pick up food and put it in its mouth and chew for itself. And that's how we're supposed to be. So we are supposed to be, all of us, we are supposed to get our sustenance from God. Obviously, He is that untappable resource. But as we feed others, we're supposed to get to the point where they then are no longer tapping us, but they are being fed by God and are then feeding others. They are becoming broken bread and poured out wine. So my question is that you? Are you still? And it's okay to be in a point of spiritual immaturity for a while and being tapping others and kind of getting your nourishment from another believer. That's okay. But at some point, maturity requires us to then start chewing on meat for ourselves and then become that resource for others. That's the switch that needs to flip in people's lives, that I think so many people just don't. They don't flip that switch and become the resource for others. At the end, he says, be exhausted for God, but remember your supply comes from Him. And his warning is that as you become that resource for others, make sure you're always tapping into the resources that God provides, that you are getting your nourishment from God to be able to nourish others. I saw a quote this morning I thought was really neat, and hopefully it speaks to you, young men, which is, a man who lacks purpose will be distracted by pleasure. And so I pray that that's not us. So let the purpose be to nourish others, to find a way to, if you're not currently eating meat yourself, but get to the point where you can eat the meat of God's word, God's guidance and direction, and then impart it to others. Find someone to start feeding into, but make sure you're always getting your nourishment from God. All right, that's all I got today, guys. Have a great day.